Well, it is now time to check in on weather with Nebraska Extension Ag Climatologist and Market Journal Chief Meteorologist Eric Hunt. Eric, I understand you're going to give us an extended winter outlook today. How are things shaping up in the months ahead?
Well, thanks, Bryce. One of the things I like looking for in extended forecasts is I like to look at the Madden-Julian Oscillation, or the MJO. Madden-Julian Oscillation is naturally occurring convection in basically in the tropics from eastern Africa into the western Pacific, and the phase number is corresponding with the geographic location. So as we head into January, we are looking at being in phase 2 and into phase 3. And phase 2 during an El Nino year tends to mean lower geopotential heights across a lot of North America, or at least certainly the continental United States. The meteorology and English translation is that this tends to be a stormier pattern for a lot of the U.S. So that might mean that we might actually have some more robust storms moving into the central U.S. or the northeastern U.S. Again, this is not a guarantee, but just based on past history, this is what's tend to happen. So again, we've had a little bit of a stormier pattern here in the last part of December, and it's possible that that will continue through the month of January. And again, the CPC is actually relatively bullish on precipitation across California and heading into Nebraska, certainly across the southeast, a little bit drier than average across the Great Lakes. In terms of temperatures, again, this is relatively very strongly tied toward El Nino, warmer than average across the northern U.S. with relatively average conditions across the southern portion of the United States. In terms of drought outlook, again, this was just released on Thursday, December 21st. So again, it is showing that drought persisting across the eastern portion of Nebraska where drought currently is. Now, I think this literally is true, but I think that we are likely to see some improvement across eastern Nebraska this winter. We're not going to eradicate it, but I definitely think we are going to see some improvement. Now, in terms of the ENSO forecast, El Nino is very likely to stick around through the spring. We are probably about its peak right now, heading into early January. And I think as we head into the spring and early summer, we're likely to head into neutral conditions. And there's even a chance as we head into the mid-late portion of summer that we will go into La Nina. Now, again, this is not a guarantee, but that is certainly a possibility as we head into the summer. Again, all the different models are basically showing El Nino is getting near its peak, and we'll start trending down toward neutral or maybe slight weak La Nina conditions as we head into the summer. In terms of composites, now the years where we've had an El Nino basically peak in the midwinter in recent times, 2016, 2010, 2003, 1998. So for composite purposes, generally not much signal here in precipitation for the Nebraska or most of the central U.S. A bit warmer than average, but maybe not quite as warm as December. So I think we will still be mild for the rest of winter, but there will be chances of more cold as I think we head into January, February. And I think I'd really be paying attention to anything that might happen with the polar vortex later in January. There's a possibility February could be kind of cold for a period of time. A quick look at the spring. Springs after a peak of El Nino have tended to be relatively wet across most of Nebraska, particularly the eastern two-thirds of the state, and also relatively warm. So I don't think we're going to have a repeat of the spring of 2023 in eastern Nebraska. Thanks. Back to you, Bryce.